Ah, the mysteries of idiomatic expressions. Pull up. Idioms are fascinating, aren't they? Capture the essence of language and culture, yet at the same time, they can be utterly baffling, especially when you try to decode them literally. And the two idioms you mentioned, a penny for your thoughts and put your 2 cents in, are perfect examples. A penny for your thoughts is an old English idiom that dates back to the 1500s. And so it's a polite way of asking someone to share their thoughts or opinions. The phrase suggests that thoughts are valuable, worth at least a penny, which in the olden days held a lot more monetary value than it does today. This idiom captures the intrinsic value we place on ideas and insights. Now let's look at the idiom, put your 2 cents in. This phrase originated in the United States in the 19th or early 20th century. It's a colloquial expression used when someone wants to offer their opinion, often unsolicited. The 2 cents here is metaphorical, denoting the speaker's contribution to the conversation, reflecting the idea that everyone's opinion is of some value. And so the 2 instead of 1 could be taken to suggest that the speaker is offering more than just a thought, that they providing their analysis or judgment or interpretation as well. And so why is it a penny for your thoughts but 2 cents when you put them in? Well, it may come down to the context. A penny for your thoughts is typically used to coax a quiet person into speaking, implying that their thoughts have value and are worth hearing. Putting your 2 cents in, on the other hand, is often used when someone is offering their opinion in a situation where it might not have been requested, suggesting they are adding extra value to the conversation, hence the extra penny. But you may ask, who is making the penny? Figuratively speaking, the penny is being made or created by the individual whose thoughts or opinions are being sought or expressed. In the case of a penny for your thoughts, the person being asked to share their thoughts is creating the penny. In the case of put your 2 cents in, the person offering their opinion is the one making the 2 pennies. However, if we want to be literal about it, pennies or cents are made by the mint. In the United States, that would be the United States Mint. But the beauty of idiomatic expressions is that they aren't meant to be taken literally. They're a quirky, informal, and often colorful part of our language that adds richness and depth to our conversation. And so, as we navigate the sea of conversation, we drop our pennies of thought into the waters of discourse. Whether it's a single penny drawn out by a curious friend or 2 pennies we voluntarily toss in, these coins represent our participation, our contribution to the shared human experience of communication. They are the tangible tokens of our intangible ideas, opinions, and insights as we exchange them in the marketplace of conversation. And isn't it wonderful that we live in a world where thoughts can be valued even if it's in pennies? Now let's assume some jerk is making the penny and shift the narrative towards the mythical and the mysterious. Deep within the labyrinth of language and the cosmos of conversation, there exists an enigmatic figure known only as the Pennywright. This elusive entity is the unseen hand that spins the wheel of words, crafting those pennies out of the ether of thoughts. Pennywright hails from the shadowed realm of idiomancy, a place where language is born, where phrases are forged, and where words wield power beyond mortal comprehension. The Pennywright is an ancient being, older than the oldest tongues of mankind. He is the scribe of sentiments, the crafter of colloquialisms, the smith of sayings. Every time you find a penny in your mind, every time you search for the right words to express a thought, it is the Pennywright who delivers. Like an alchemist of old, he transmutes the base metal of mundane thoughts into the gold of eloquent expressions. He does not care if the thoughts are worth a penny or two. His sole purpose is to ensure that the conversation continues, that the dance of dialogue does not falter. But the Pennywright is a capricious creature. He delights in the confusion his idioms often cause. The mirthful misdirection of a penny for your thoughts and put your 2 cents in is just one of his many jests. He throws these cryptic coins into the fountain of conversation, stirring the waters and delighting in the ripples of puzzlement they cause. So the next time you hear an idiom that leaves you scratching your head, remember the Pennywright. And the next time you find yourself searching for the right words, remember that somewhere in the shadows, this mystical figure is forging your penny of thought, all the while grinning at the grand tapestry of conversation he helps to weave. But remember this, the Pennywright demands respect for the power of words. Use your pennies wisely, for words once spoken can never be unspoken. They are the coins with which we pay our way through life. And each one is a reflection of who we are. After all, as the saying goes, and perhaps this is another of the Pennywrights just say, word is worth 1,000 pictures. And I have an intriguing proposition. What if Pennywright and Pennywise got in a fight? The Pennywright, the mythical and mysterious crafter of idioms, facing off against Pennywise, the infamous and malevolent clown from Stephen King's It. Both entities possess considerable power within their respective realms. However, their natures and the sources of their power are quite different, leading to an unpredictable clash. Pennywise is a creature of fear. He feeds off it, draws strength from it, and uses it as a weapon against his victims. He has the power to shape-shift into his victims' worst fears and can manipulate reality to an extent. And he is a creature of the physical world, albeit one that operates by rules that are far removed from the norm. On the other hand, the Pennywright is a being of language and thought existing in the nebulous realm of idiomancy. He is the architect of idioms, the smith of sayings, the master of metaphors. He doesn't use fear. Instead, his power lies in the ability to manipulate language and communication. That should they engage in battle, it would certainly be an epic confrontation. Pennywise might attempt to use the Pennywright's fears against him, shifting into forms designed to induce terror. But would the Pennywright
A creature of thought and language feared the same things a mortal would?
It's hard to say. Meanwhile, the Pennywright might counter Pennywise's fear tactics by using his own powers over language. He could potentially confuse, mislead, or manipulate Pennywise through the clever use of idioms and phrases, disorienting the fear-eating entity and making it difficult for him to mount an effective offensive. While it's impossible to predict who would come out on top, one thing is certain. This clash of fears versus phrases of terror against talk would be an encounter of cosmic proportions. It's a battle that's likely to leave its mark on both the realms of idiomancy and the physical world. But remember, in the end, it's the power of belief that holds sway in both these entities' realms. And the wins might just depend on who believes they can. To continue with another example, you see idioms such as drive on a parkway and park on a driveway are part of the beauty of language, often more a result of historical and cultural evolution rather than logical reasoning. Let's begin with parkway. The term parkway originated in the late 19th and early 20th centuries during a period when the burgeoning field of landscape architecture was seeking to blend the beauty of nature with the practicality of transportation. They were originally landscaped roads, scenic routes that went through park-like settings, hence the term parkway. It was meant to be a road that enhances the experience of driving through a picturesque area, much like a leisurely drive through a park. Over time, however, the term evolved to refer to major highways regardless of their aesthetic qualities. As for the term driveway, it has a bit more straightforward origin. Back in the day, most homes had a carriage house or a barn set a short distance away from the main dwelling, and there was usually a drive or a path that connected these buildings. The term driveway was used to describe this path. And when cars came into common use, these drives became the place where people parked their cars. So paradoxically, we drive on a parkway, a term that once referred to a road, to a scenic, park-like landscape, and we park on a driveway, a term that once referred to the path connecting different buildings on a property. This might seem illogical if you interpret the words strictly by their modern meanings, but if you understand the historical and cultural context in which these terms developed, it becomes a bit more understandable. Once again, we see how language, in its beautiful complexity, often refuses to be constrained by logic. And somewhere perhaps the Pennywright is chuckling at this little jest